Good morning, everyone. So good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us today. So before we get started, I just want to acknowledge that we're meeting on the traditional, ancestral, unceded territories of the First Nations and Native American peoples. So those of us who are here in Vancouver are on the land of the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish nations. But I know many of you are on the land of other nations. So if you'd like, please feel free to write those nation names in the chat now. And always, let's remember our connection to our siblings in these nations. And let's pray for the day in which we might be with them in right relationship. So welcome. Welcome to Living Interfaith. Know that the whole of you is welcome. You're not asked to leave who you are in your own homes. Please bring who you are in with you. But instead, what you are asked to remember is that everyone around you has brought who they are in with them as well. And all of goodwill are welcome. And when they're ready, Bruce and Cheryl have an opening song for us.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of healing. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are. Though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, ours is no cares and ours is theirs. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are. Though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, ours is your cares and ours is theirs. Come yet again, come.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Can you all hear me okay? Okay, great. Thank you, Bruce and Cheryl. So yes, I have a few announcements. First announcement is next Thursday. It will be the 30th annual solstice celebration here in Vancouver. So that'll be on Thursday, December 21st at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That'll be on Granville Island here in Vancouver. It's going to include lantern making and live performances from Shauna Bourne, the Mistress of Ceremonies, and Sparkwa Slalom dancers from the Squamish Nation. So if you like, you can get some more information about that here. I think some of that is free and some of that does cost money. But here, I'll just put the information in the chat and anyone who's interested can attend. And then the other thing I want to let you know is, as I mentioned to folks who were here before the call, before the service, this is my last service for a few months. So I've been running the sanctuary for about 5.5 years now. And I know in some congregations, you get a 3-month sabbatical after 5 years. So I'm very excited to take a little break. So everything will continue as it has been, but just without me. So, and that is all thanks to our fantastic managing director, Rachel Jones. Rachel is seriously the best. She is such a godsend. And so she's going to be doing all the behind the scenes stuff and running the tech of the services and whatnot. They'll continue again as usual without me, but then we have some folks signing up. Some of our board members have signed up to lead the services, to do my part while I'm away. I think we still have one service without a leader, which will be on January 20th. So if anyone would like to do that, please feel free to sign up. I can send you, I sort of have a sheet where I have the prayers and the order of service that we use, but also on almost all of those days, we're going to need someone to offer a candle lighting prayer and also to lead the joint affirmation. So if you would like to help in any of those capacities, Rachel's extremely organized and she's put together a spreadsheet where folks can sign up. So that way you're not all volunteering for the same time. So I'm going to put a link to that spreadsheet in the chat now. Or if you can't find that, then feel free to write to us at livinginterfaithsanctuary@gmail.com and you can sign up for any of those. And otherwise, I will watch the recordings, but I'll look forward to seeing you all in April after my break. So thanks again. So those are my announcements. Does anyone else have any announcements?
I have one. So for those of you in Vancouver, one of my classmates at the Vancouver School of Theology is organizing a carol singing event at the long-term care home where she works. So that's St. Jude's Anglican Home on Friday, December 29th from 2 to 4 p.m. So if anybody would like to come, it's at 810 West 27th. You're invited. Just let me know, and you can just write me in the chat.
Great, thank you so much. Does anybody else have any announcements? Okay, then let's come into silence. We'll start our opening prayers. This is a Hanukkah prayer for freedom. Source of creation and life of the universe, we gather together on Hanukkah with our Jewish friends of conscience and a deep spiritual bond to the lights of freedom. We are grateful for the inner might of the Maccabees, who fought to reclaim a Jerusalem in despair and rekindle the lights of human freedom. Freedom has many faces: freedom from war and conflict or threats of terror, freedom to have a secure home, freedom from hunger, poverty, and despair. Freedom is deeply personal as well. Freedom to express one's gender identity without fear. Freedom to express one's racial identity without fear. Freedom to make choices about life and deep-held beliefs. Freedom to live our faith in all of its beauty without negating anyone else's. Our Hanukkah menorah with its 8 branches and kindling light remind us of the diversity on our earth, bound together with a branch of oneness. It's a reminder that we're interconnected as a global community. We are diverse yet equal in our world, with our Jewish, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, Sikh, humanist, and all other faiths. At times of deep darkness, instead of walking in fear, let us kindle godly lights, lights within and lights beyond, and let us increase these lights each day so we might light the way for all. A prayer from Rabbi Warren Stone.
And now these are the first 3 blessings read on the first night of Hanukkah, typically, which is now over, but I thought I would read them for our candle lighting prayer. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of all, who made us holy through your commandments and commanded us to kindle the Hanukkah lights. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of all, who performed wondrous deeds for our ancestors in days of old at this season. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of all, who has kept us alive, sustained us, and brought us to this season.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Rachel. And now feel free to unmute and we can offer one another a sign of peace. Peace, everyone. So good to be with you this morning.
Peace.
Peace to all.
Shalom, love, and peace.
Lahava.
Peace and comfort.
Peace.
Peace, everyone.
Peace be with you.
See you.
Love and peace to all.
Peace and love. Allah Akbar.
Beautiful. And then when they're ready, Bruce and Cheryl have another song for us.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod, Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Shema
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Bruce and Cheryl. Now, who would like to lead our joint affirmation? Just speak up. I might not be able to see you on here.
I can
Stephen?
do it.
Oh, yes, Rebecca?
We come together in peace. We sing together in joy and with love. We worship together in one house, a house with names beyond number. Our paths are many. Our beliefs are as leaves, and the tree that we cleave to is nourished by the light of compassion, justice, and mutual respect. May our lives, our beliefs, and our actions help to bring about the world of love we all seek, and let it begin here.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. And now we're going to take some time to pray, just in our own homes and in our own ways, whatever prayer or meditation or contemplation might look like for you. So, as always, there are so many different causes and people that need our prayers. I know for many people, this is a really difficult time of year. They're missing those they've lost over the last year. They're worried about what the year ahead holds, grieving what might have been, and also worried about so many different things going on in the world right now. So if we just take some time to pray for all of those who are struggling right now, including if that's ourselves, let's take a few moments now to pray. Thank you. And when they're ready, Bruce and Cheryl have another song.
Maos to Yeshuati, Lechana el Shabeach, Tikvan betefilati, Veshamdo nesabeach, Letachin
That was beautiful. Thank you so much, Bruce and Cheryl. So now is when I usually say that if we met in person, I pass around a basket. We don't have a basket. I used to physically have a basket. It's been given away at some point. But in lieu of that, I'm going to put our donation page in the chat. And so thank you so much to all of you who donate. Your work goes to support this wonderful community. So we're so grateful. Again, we don't have any overhead really. We have like a website and a PO box and an app for a phone. So we are pretty bare bones here. So it's so good. So all the donations go to support our actual work with Rachel as the managing director, Bruce and Cheryl with their fantastic music, and me in trying to promote interfaith. So thank you for all that you've contributed over the last year and for some of you many years to keep this community going. We're just so, so grateful. And when they're ready, Bruce and Cheryl have another song for us.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So now it's my pleasure to turn it over to a friend of mine whom I have not seen in a few years now, but I'm so grateful she's here. So Rabbi Susan Shamash, she's joining us. She's a progressive independent rabbi who's passionate about open tent Judaism. In January of 2017, she was ordained as a rabbi by ALEPH, the Alliance for Jewish Renewal, which is part of a worldwide effort to fully embrace a contemporary egalitarian Judaism as a profound spiritual practice and social transformer. And she seeks to reach beyond religious boundaries and any kind of institutional structure. So she very much fits in this community. She's spoken once before a few years ago. We're so, so happy to have you back. So when you're ready, over to you, Rabbi Susan.
Thank you, Kathy and Rachel, for inviting me here. I'm so honored to be here, and also Stephen, to meet you virtually. I've heard so much about you and your work from Kathy, even though we haven't kept in touch too much. I actually didn't know that you weren't meeting anymore in the church. I guess COVID changed that, and then you decided to stay on Zoom, which gives so many more people an opportunity to participate from a lot of different places. So I am located in Vancouver, and I am not a congregational rabbi. This is a second career for me, and I specifically chose not to be a congregational rabbi. It's not something that I ever wanted to do. Most of the work that I do is life cycle events, weddings primarily for interfaith couples. And it's been very gratifying work. There are no congregational rabbis in Vancouver who are permitted to do it. And there are a couple of us freelance independent rabbis who do. And it's really important work. I also have been officiating at a number of baby covenanting, welcoming ceremonies, and a few funerals as well. So I consider interfaith work to be very important. So I've been asked today to talk about the lessons from Hanukkah, and I may actually say stuff that some of you know, and if that's the case, then maybe you'll hear it on a different level. Hanukkah ended yesterday. That was the last day. And it's one of the most widely observed Jewish holidays, a festive 8-day celebration that here in North America falls during the darkest, coldest season of the year. It's also called the Festival of Lights, the holiday that brings light, joy, and warmth to our homes and communities as we celebrate with candles, food, family, and friends. Light comes literally with the lighting of an additional candle each day, and metaphorically through a newer emphasis on charitable donations and a commitment to tikkun olam, which means repairing the world during this holiday. So modern celebrations of Hanukkah focus on family and friends and include the lighting of the Chanukiah, the menorah, singing and playing seasonal songs, which tend to be fairly, they're kind of children's songs more than anything else, and playing games, eating foods prepared in oil, including latkes, which are potato pancakes, sufganiyot, which are jellied stuffed donuts, bimuelos, which are fried dough puffs, and keftis de prasas, which are leek patties. So a little bit about the history of Hanukkah, because it's mired in controversy. Although, according to Jewish custom, Hanukkah is considered a minor holiday, it ranks along with Passover and Purim as one of the most beloved of the Jewish holidays. Unlike other Jewish holidays, though, Hanukkah is not mentioned in the Bible. And the prayer that Rachel started us out with to light the candle, where it says that God commanded us to light the candles of Hanukkah, that actually didn't happen. God has not commanded us. But the rabbinic sages were determined to bring God into the holiday, and that's one of the ways that they did it. The historical events on which the celebration is based are recorded in the books of Maccabees 1 and 2, but they're contained in a later collection of writings known as the Apocrypha, which are books that didn't make it into the Jewish canon. I believe that they are in the Catholic canon, and I am not entirely sure if they are in the Protestant canon, but I know they're in the Catholic canon, but they are not in the Jewish canon. In the year 168, before the Common Era, the Syrian king Antiochus Epiphanes sent his soldiers to Jerusalem. The Syrians desecrated the temple, the holiest place for the Jews at that time. Antiochus also abolished Judaism, outlawing the observance of Shabbat, the Sabbath, and the festivals, as well as circumcision, all of which were very important to the Jews. He set up altars and idols for the worship of Greek gods and offered Jews 2 options, conversion or death. On the 25th day of the Hebrew month of Kislev in the year 168, before the Common Era, the temple was renamed for the Greek god Zeus. And the story is that a pig was sacrificed there on the altar, which is, desecration upon desecration. A Jewish resistance movement developed, led by a priestly family known as the Hasmoneans or the Maccabees. And it developed resisting the cruelty of Antiochus. The head of the family was Mattathias, an elderly man. His son Judah became the chief strategist and military leader of the resistance. His name was Judah Maccabee. Maccabee literally means hammer. Though outnumbered, Judah Maccabee and his fighters miraculously won 2 major battles, routing the Syrians decisively. Although historians debate the causes and outcomes of the war in which Judah Maccabee and his followers defeated the Syrian armies of Antiochus, there's no doubt that Hanukkah evokes stirring images of Jewish valor against overwhelming odds. Other themes of the holiday include the refusal to submit to the religious demands of an empire practicing idolatry, the struggle against assimilation into Greek culture and loss of Christianity, and the fight for Jewish political autonomy and self-determination. But it's a story that is horrific on pretty much every level. These guerrilla priests also attacked and killed fellow Jews who did not support the military effort to recover Jewish sovereignty. It was also a Jewish civil war. And then there's the miracle of the oil. The books of the Maccabees make no mention of the legend concerning a small jar of oil that unexpectedly lasted for 8 days. Only 6 centuries later, after the Maccabees' defeat of the Syrians, did the story of the jar of oil, which has come to be associated with Hanukkah, the main story of Hanukkah, it appeared in the Talmud. According to that legend, when the Maccabees entered the temple and began to reclaim it from the Greeks, they immediately relit the Ner Tamid, the eternal flame, which burned constantly in the temple. In the ruined temple, they found a single jar of oil, which was sufficient for only 1 day. The messenger who was sent to secure additional oil took 8 days to complete his mission, and miraculously, the single jar of oil continued to burn until his return. The rabbis of the Talmud repurposed the story and attributed the 8 days of Hanukkah to the miracle of this single jar of oil. So now a bit about modern observance. Although the practice of lighting the menorah was common throughout much of the 19th century, North American Jews tended to neglect most of the traditions and practices associated with the holiday. By the 1920s, however, Jews increasingly added gift-giving to their Hanukkah celebrations, prompting some people to refer to Hanukkah as the Jewish Christmas, which it isn't. In some ways, the transformation of Hanukkah was linked to the growth of North American Jewry within its unique environment. The elevation of Hanukkah to a major holiday was partly the result of Jews acculturating themselves to North America that was overwhelmingly Christian in population and symbols. Although Hanukkah has become an important holiday among North American Jews, it became an important holiday among North American Jews by the 1920s, it would be incorrect to regard it as an imitation of Christmas with an emphasis on the exchange of presents. Rather, North American Jews use this holiday as a celebration of family, reinforcing Jewish identity in a place whose population may be overwhelmingly Christian. Hanukkah is a means for North American Jews to feel a kinship with their neighbors while simultaneously asserting their Jewish distinctiveness. And they made Hanukkah into a holiday of religious freedom. One of the key elements of Hanukkah is Pirsum Hanes, circulating the miracle. We put the Chanukiah, the lit Chanukiah, in the window or by the door for everyone to see. There are actually glass containers to keep the candles safe from gusts of wind, and some people put their lit Chanukiah outside the door. In many ways, this is a liminal event. It's the meeting point between the inside and the outside, where the inside is propagating to the outside world. The question is how we take our values, which we live in the home, and witness them toward the outside world. These are the values that I believe in. The light begins in the home and then is sent out into the public. We want to make sure that our values are projected outwards and don't just stay in the home. The Greeks, Syrians, went after the home Judaism, not just the public Judaism. Our response is wanting both to live in my home and share it with the outside world. And now a bit of commentary. The story in the Book of Maccabees is about the establishment of a new priestly dynasty. This has some meaning when we talk about celebrating Hanukkah. Some Jews don't. They can't stomach the militariness of it. Who were the Hasmoneans? They were religious zealots. We're actually celebrating a civil war. The Maccabees were brutal and ruthless and went on to sire a decadent and power-drunk dynasty that traumatized the region and the Jewish people for over a century. That is painful and problematic and makes Hanukkah problematic. When you're celebrating a victory in a civil war, that automatically means you're celebrating victory over those who you believe are threatening to destroy Judaism, those within. These are hard questions for us. The Hasmoneans used the 25th of Kislev because in 168 before the Common Era, when the Greeks put a statue of Zeus into the temple, they put it in as a celebration of the winter solstice. The Hasmoneans were saying that the day you desecrated our temple and dedicated to sun worship, that day we're going to reclaim. So there's some question also about what miracle exactly are we celebrating and circulating? Some say it's the miracle of a military victory, a small band of guerrilla fighters against the army of an empire. The notion of the vessel of oil that appeared in the Talmud centuries later is really a religious polemic. The rabbinic sages did not like the Hasmoneans. They firstly didn't like the concept of a military victory, but then it wasn't long before the Hasmoneans themselves, after the victory, became corrupt and assimilationist, the very things they had fought against. The books of Maccabees were left out of the canon intentionally, and the rabbinic sages wanted to bring God into the holiday. So they made up the story of the oil and the miracle of it lasting 8 days. They made Hanukkah into a home holiday that was no longer tied to a civil war or the temple, but was about a battle against the Greeks or the Syrians and their oppression. There's yet another question. What is the miracle of the oil? That enough for 1 day burned for 8, or that they had faith that that little bit of light would generate the energy and light necessary to live in this world? A little bit of light that generates more light. Though the rabbinic sages constantly made things up, I hate to tell you that, but it's true. In this case, their wisdom is particularly powerful. Here they found a way to acknowledge the totality of what it means to live through all kinds of oppression, internal and external. They recognized both the brutality and the improbable military victory encompassed by the problematic chronicle, and deftly shifted the focus away from the Maccabees altogether in 2 sentences in the Talmud. They don't exactly sugarcoat it, but they redirect the focus. There, the rabbis, who were often themselves subject to extreme oppression and persecution, pulled off a magnificent feat of spiritual resistance through some expert yarn spinning. It is concise, a genius, virtuosic, even virtuosic effort, an example of the power of a narrative sleight of hand. It's not an outlandish fabrication. It's quite subtle. In fact, they elaborated just enough to turn an extremely murky, dank, and ugly tale into a sacred reason to bring warmth, light, and creativity into our lives. They awarded the victory to what is inexplicable, magical, and inspiring, the divine. And this is and always will be the real miracle of Hanukkah. Thank you.
Wow, that was amazing. Thank you so much. I learned a lot. I knew a fair bit about this before, but I just learned so much from you, Rabbi Susan. So thank you for joining us. Bruce and Cheryl have one more song, and then I'll do our closing prayer. And then Susan, you're okay to stay a little bit after if anyone has any follow-up questions or wants to ask anything.
Sure, I am.
Great. Thank you so much. So when you're ready, Bruce and Cheryl.
Israel otan meimne en miklo yakum hagebor goel ha Mimlel kurot Israel otan meimne en miklo yakum hagebor goel ha Shma Bayamim hahem bavanazeh Moshiach ufodeh, Uv Yameinu kol am Yisrael, Yitachet yakum ve'yigael, Mimalel kurot Yisrael hotan bimneh, En bechol yakum hagibor goel ha'am, Israel hotan bimne en bechol yakum hagibor goel ha'am Shma bayamim hahem bazman hazeh Makabi Moshiach ufodeh Uv Yameinu kol am Yisrael Yitachet yakum ve'yigael Yimalel kurot Yisrael hotan bimne En bechol yakum hagibor goel ha'am Yimalel kurot Yisrael hotan bimne En bechol yakum hagibor goel ha'am
That was amazing. Thank you so much, Bruce and Cheryl. I don't know, one day I'm going to keep track of how many different languages you sing in for us in order to keep all these services going, but we're just so grateful. You all are amazing. Thank you for that. And so many thanks to Rabbi Susan for joining us. I know I learned a lot. I'm sure others have as well, and I have some follow-up questions. So if you'd like to stay after, hopefully we can check in and learn some more. And yes, what a difficult time, right? So saying, okay, some of these stories, that's not actually how it went. Actually, that's hiding a much more upsetting past and a much darker history. And what do we do with that? So just thinking about that going forward in the world, all the things that are complicated and difficult right now in our lives, what can we learn from them? Not so that we just hide these things or try to make nice, but what are some of the truths we can take forward that actually are uplifting and helpful, and that can sustain us in times when things are really difficult. So I hope you feel sustained. I hope you find things around you that give you hope. And I hope you're able to take light forward in this season of so many shadows. Amen.